What if Sleep Token were to get a soundtrack on the new Stranger Things? Jamie Campbell Bower has released a Sleep Token cover.
The night belongs to you.
He has released this cover. He's just put it out there into the world on YouTube. And I think he's still got that itch to scratch as a musician. And so that's kind of that, really. That's just kind of put out there, right? You kind of look at the wider picture of things and go, hold on a minute here. Stranger Things has a brand new season coming out later in the year.
Yeah.
A quick look online today. It looks like it's going to be out November or maybe October. Halloween time would obviously make a lot of sense, but in the autumn. So there's going to be new Stranger Things.
That's the final one, though, is it? Fifth and final, isn't it?
Fifth and final one.
So we're being told.
I don't think they can CGI the kids much more to make them any younger as they're going to be approaching.
They should have animated 30. It, Pete. Animation is wonderful. You never get old.
Got married, they're all adults now.
My hip.
Yeah. So yes, they need to wrap it up. Also, you got to know you're out, right? You got to know where to leave, and I think it's time. I love Stranger Things, and I'll be happy to get the fifth and final season. It'll be good for that, and then maybe they can do some spin-offs. I'm sure they will. So. New Stranger Things is coming towards the end of the year. We know Sleep Token are going to be headlining Download Festival in June, and it's very likely there's going to be a new album from Sleep Token. So there's an awful lot of activity happening around Sleep Token and Stranger Things, and now Jamie Campbell Bower has just dropped this cover. So I was wondering, and this is just pure speculation, just a bit of fun, what if Sleep Token were to get a soundtrack on the new Stranger Things season that's going to be out later in the year?
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first.
Remember where you heard that. So Sleep Token will feature, because Sleep Token has had, well, what's that? What was it Running Up That Hill that went back to number one? Was it Running Up That Hill?
Yeah, Kate Bush Running Up That Hill.
And then Metallica sort of introduced a whole bunch of people and a lot. But it's been kind of older acts, I guess, if that's fair to say. So, well, Kate Bush and Metallica certainly are those.
So. Yeah, because
Sleep Token would be a bit of a something different.
Well, I can
certainly on brand.
Understand why they used older or heritage acts the way in which they did, because Stranger Things is set in the 80s. I don't think they've actually ever said, like, they've never put a year on it being like this 1985, but all of the aesthetics, everything about Stranger Things is very, very 80s. So they want to go for that feel, they want to go for that vibe, which I totally understand. But the nature of Sleep Token's music, obviously you have a frontman like Vessel who's masked and mysterious, and a lot of the songs of Sleep Token are either melodic or very, very heavy. To me, it just seems like it fits into Stranger Things like a glove. And now that we know that Jamie is a huge fan doing a cover, you just wonder, could this be part of like the big release for Sleep Token? Like, we got a new album and we're going to be on Stranger Things.
And Vessel makes an uncredited appearance in the actual program.
I mean, that would be very cool. It's not the first time that things like that have happened. Scott Ian was a zombie in The Walking Dead.
He was, yeah, that's true.
So there is precedent for something like that. I think if that was to happen, Vessel would be like some little monster, like in the background of a scene or something. It would be an Easter egg, essentially, to have Vessel there. But Ronnie in the chat saying, I would love it, but the era the show is set wouldn't suit. Potentially, I do get that argument, but I think that there is either using the existing music that we have with Sleep Token or a brand new song that we haven't heard yet. I think that you could get a Sleep Token song with Into Stranger Things.
But you don't necessarily have to use it in the way that Metallica or Kate Bush was used. It could be used as an original throughout that you don't even, it's not even there for recognizability, if there's such a word. You know what I mean? So there could be Sleep Token music running throughout the actual soundtrack that you don't even really realize. Do you know what I mean?
That's so almost like Vessel and Sleep Token creating like atmospheric sound.
Yeah, because that's their gig. That sort of atmospheric, kind of dark, and that would fit. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, now we're really going wild in the speculation, but it doesn't have to be a full-on Sleep Token song that you recognize. Do you know what I mean? because obviously Kate Bush and Metallica are those, and you go, "Oh, great tunes that they have some pedigree." Maybe new music sort of intertwined into the soundtrack.
That would be very cool. I think if this was to happen, I think we often talk about things that would be great for metal and metal getting more exposure. And yes, Stranger Things was great for that, but ultimately it just put more money into the pocket of Metallica and Kate Bush. It didn't really need it. Okay, it was good for exposing a brand new audience to the genre as a whole, whether it's Metallica or Kate Bush, but if Stranger Things was to uplift a band like Sleep Token, who, to be fair, in our scene today really are like the zeitgeist band, this could be the sort of thing that could turn Sleep Token from a popular band within our scene to just a popular band everywhere, which is kind of cool to think about, because these are the moments that metal has been missing out on over the past 20 years, I would say. Like, we have fallen...
Staying relevant, you mean?
Absolutely.
The relevance has disappeared. 100%.
Metal is in its box. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a lovely box, and I love that box. We have done a good job of building that box, and it's our box, right?
And they're protecting it, building walls around it.
Stay away from
it, everybody.
like a cat defending his box. Yeah, my box. It's our box. You stay away from it. But eventually, the box will perish, and and it needs a little bit of life breathing into it. So I think it would just be incredible if we were to see a big cultural moment. You talk a lot about shared experiences, right? Let's say, at the end of the year, we're watching the new episodes of Stranger Things. A boom, right there, Take Me Back to Eden comes on as a track. Yeah, it would feel like a real moment for this genre, not just for Sleep Token, but for the scene.
As a vehicle, from a band's perspective, as a vehicle to get your music used in TikTok, or that's it. Honestly, because when Master of Puppets came out, it was like all of a sudden, whoa, wow, it's everywhere. Like, it was everywhere. All of a sudden, and Kate Bush as well. It was like all of a sudden. So you're right. And you would think that labels and management would be going, if we managed to get a little slot on there, that would be quite beneficial.
It's interesting that you mentioned labels, because Sleep Token, up until this album, were signed to Spinefarm Records, who are a metal label that is owned by Universal. Now they are signed, I think, directly to Sony.
Are they? Who does Stranger Things, by the way? Who's behind Stranger Things?
Sleep Token are not on the metal label that's owned by the bigger label. They're just signed to the bigger label now. And there's only 3 labels, Sony, Warner, and Universal. So obviously Sony will have those kind of connections with people at Netflix to be able to be in the room to talk about these sorts of things. But it's interesting, just on the Sleep Token front with the new music, because we talk about this. So they've launched a website, like a side website called showmehowtodanceforever.com. And then you kind of jump through some hoops with an email, and then you have to solve a riddle, then you end up at the merch store. But it turns out this riddle is from a monument in Stafford, and now you've got Sleep Token fans going to this monument in real life. And I did see something I think it was one of the tech metal Facebook groups. One of the groundsmen was having to say to Sleep Token fans, "You're welcome, but please be respectful." Like,
really, it's Pokemon Go.
It's becoming like a religious kind of thing now with people.
What are you doing here? It's like crowds of people wandering around. Why are you here? What's going on? Because the groundskeeper, no disrespect, probably has no idea what's going on.
No.
Why is there sudden interest? Why do I have to clean? We're using so much toilet paper. It's ridiculous. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. Right, I'm putting a bet on that. So I'm going to put on 2 bets. One bet is that Sleep Token will feature in the soundtrack to Stranger Things, and that Vessel will make a guest appearance.
I like that bet.
That's the bet.
Yeah.
Primordial Radio.